Hello and welcome to episode 58 of Retro Recall the PS1 Chronicles, a show where we play and rank every PlayStation game ever created. My name is Jimmy, and as always, I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
So a lot of episodes we have this conversation before where we're like, I don't know how we're going to do an hour on this game. And that's how I felt going into this one.
Yeah, every time we do a more simplistic style game like Turnabout, which was just that ball puzzle, it's like, how are we going to squeeze at least 45 minutes out of this? This is the first time actually playing the game. Like, I don't know how we're going to do it this time.
If it's a shorter episode, I'm sorry, but we're not going to pad it. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you picked the game.
Yep.
I know we're doing the new genres thing, so I keep asking you why you're picking a game. The reason you picked it is because you needed to pick a new genre, but, what was the reason you went with this?
I thought back to when we did Destruction Derby, which was the last time we ever did a car game that I can think of.
Yeah, I think we did the kart racers, but that doesn't count.
No.
So I think, it's almost been a year, which is crazy.
Yep. So I thought about that, and I thought, well, one of the big things we said about Destruction Derby was, oh, we wish there was jumps. And I saw this, I'm like, rally cars have jumps in their maps. So what perfect way to go about it than to do this one?
Little did you know there would not be that many jumps.
I was a little disappointed in that, but when you do hit them, they are fun.
Yeah, we'll get into that one later. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of simulation racing games. I've tried many times over the years. I've played Gran Turismo. I've played Forza. I played the newest Gran Turismo a good bit, actually, because it's really accessible to people that don't like this kind of game.
How so?
Well, they have something similar to the tutorial mode in this game, but obviously an updated version of that.
Okay.
So they're called license tests, and you're kind of just like learning the mechanics of the game, but, trying to hit a time too. So it allows you to get comfortable while not in a race,
Mm-hmm. And I think the original Gran Turismo had that as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I've never played it, so I don't know. But
okay.
Obviously we will sometime.
Yeah. I didn't play much. I never played Forza. I saw that a lot. There was the Midnight Club or whatever.
Yeah.
Never got into that one. I mainly just had Gran Turismo, and that was the only racing game I really played all the time. And I think it's because, and I don't know if this is your thoughts on it too, but just because of the realism behind it, like, yeah, it's fun, but I can't have a whole collection of just realistic racing games. Like, I want the fun arcadey stuff too.
Yeah, the racing games that I played the most by far were the Burnout games.
Okay. I've seen gameplay of that. I've never actually played them.
Not to go on a whole thing here, but Burnout 3 is my favorite, and it literally helps shape like my music taste. Like, it has one of the best soundtracks of any game. You could listen to it now and you'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah. Is that the one where you like can hit things and it, like, there's destructible objects throughout the levels?
Yeah, there's like a whole mode called Crash Mode where you're just trying to cause as much damage as possible, which is very fun.
Yeah, mine was always Need for Speed. That was my like arcadey racing game.
I want to say I played a little bit of Need for Speed Underground or Underground 2, which I know are the best ones, but...
Yep. And I can't wait to get to Hot Pursuit when we finally do get to that one, because...
That's on PS1?
Is it not?
I don't know. I'm excited now.
See, I'm making this claim now, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm pretty sure it's on PS1 because, at least back in the day, I could be mistaken on this, the graphics were so amazing. It's like, how is this on the PlayStation 1? Because it's just too good of graphics.
Well, they made a newer one too, like a new, like a reboot using the Hot Pursuit name. So I think that's what I'm thinking of. So maybe I just never heard of the original. Like, I've definitely never played any of them on PS1.
Okay, well, I'm excited to get to those ones then.
Yeah, I think the only other game similar to that I had was Test Drive. You ever play those?
Oh, I forgot about Test Drive. Yes.
I had Test Drive 5, but I didn't have it on PS1. It's on PS1. I had it on PC for some reason.
I played Test Drive 5 all the time.
That is crazy. All right. That's going to be a fun one. Just off the top of my head, I don't think that one's going to be very good, but we'll find out, I guess.
Not at all. We could probably do Test Drive 2, 3, 4, and 5 all in one episode.
I've actually been trying to avoid that because I feel like we always end up just like we think, oh, it's going to be a quick episode, but then all the double episodes are so fucking long.
Yeah, we have a bad habit with it.
Because I'm sure there's multiples of this series on the PS1, right?
Probably. There's at least multiple rally games. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah,
it falls into this series, but I mean, going off of that, though, what is your opinion on Rally itself?
I don't really have an opinion. Like, I've never really like. I mean, are you saying like have you ever watched it before? I've never like seen it. Like I know the games. I've heard of them over the years. Like especially this series because it's still going now. But I always thought it was just racing in like places you shouldn't be racing. I guess like you're not on a regular track. You're just like in the woods.
Yeah, you're just making all these jumps, almost killing a bunch of civilians in the process. That's all I've ever known it as. And my biggest thing too is there's always this guy in the passenger seat yelling out codes for no reason. I'm like, you're speaking a whole nother language, just yelling at this driver.
I will say after playing this, I might have to just watch a little bit of it and just see what it's like. Because
I thought that too.
If they're doing the same things they're doing here, I'm kind of interested. At least, I'll check it out for a minute. I don't know if I'll sit here and watch it, but,
Playing this too, I feel like I understand a little bit more now. So now going back, I'm like, oh, okay, now I get what they're saying to each other.
You're like, oh, that's what a square right was. Yeah, before we get into the game, I got one more question for you. Do you think simulation games are too intense? Are they like too intimidating for someone who's not into this style of game? Because this is very much a simulation game.
It's a hard question because on one sense, like you just got to be used to that realism. Like I can't go creaming into this turn at 200 miles per hour and like make it around. Like there are consequences because it acts like real life in a sense. I think you just need to be into this style of gaming to like it.
Yeah, I think you're kind of right. I mean, like I literally just said before, like I've tried so many times, but unless you really want to commit to a game and like learn the physics and everything, like there's just no chance.
Yeah, because I could say the same thing about fighting games. Like I feel like that's the most intimidating genre to ever get into.
Yeah.
And even stuff like Rocket League, there's a reason I never started playing it because I'm like terrified to get into and just get destroyed nonstop every single game. So I feel like you can say that with every genre. Everything is intimidating if that's not really your thing.
True, but to your example, you could always just button mash in a fighting game and get by for a while. I mean, we both know that because we've done it.
That is true.
Also, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I do love Rocket League.
Oh, I never knew that about you.
I haven't played it in years, but when I first came out, I played a lot of it. I was never amazing, but I could do some of the like trick shots and stuff. So
nice. I have it downloaded. I just have yet to get into it and actually play it.
It is a fun game, but all right, let's just hop into this game. Colin McRae Rally was released on February 9th, 2000. It was developed by Codemasters and published by Sony. Codemasters, very big racing developer. They've been doing these games, like racing games of all kinds, for like 30 years.
Oh, wow. Well, that explains a lot going into this.
Yeah, they're like the pros when it comes to this stuff. I've played some of their other games. It's slipping my mind to name some of them, but I know that they've done so many, and arcade simulation, they've done it all. So this is a simulation game, and also published by Sony, which is interesting. I mean, this was probably pushed really hard, I would imagine, around this time.
Yeah, I can see it in the production as well.
It is a high budget game. That's true. I mean, So just to get us started, I mean, watching the intro, to your point right there, I feel like this is a good intro because it actually shows the game.
Yeah, there's no, here's this guy in a real car cruising down the tracks.
There is a little bit of that, but like for the most part, they're showing you what the game actually looks like, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, and the whole like starting on the WRX and like panning around it as a custom to the gameplay. I'm like, I'm into this actually. I like this.
Well, and I haven't been doing this lately where I tell you how I feel about the game early on. So I'm just going to do it now. I had a really good time with this game. I thought it was fun.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
we'll get into all the points about the game, but just my overall thoughts. I didn't expect to have as much fun as I did.
Yep. I can fully agree. I went into this like, did I make a bad choice on this? Almost immediately upon playing, I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun. This is actually really cool.
Now, I will say, if I was playing this on my own, not for the show, I would keep playing it, but I would probably play it a lot more sparingly and not like play it for an hour. Like, I'd probably just play like, 4 or 5 races, take a break for a while. Like, that's how I always play racing games. Like, I'm not going to sit there and play a racing game for 3 hours like I would like a story game.
I'm the opposite. I wanted to keep playing, and I still want to keep like. I wanted to finish the career mode and get all the bonus stuff, and the time I played this, the time just flew by. It didn't feel like it was dragging, and I was just having fun from start to end.
No, I was actually going to say I would start recording and then I'm like, shit, I got to like stop. I have some other stuff to do. But we'll continue to praise this game for the next however long.
Yeah.
But so I started with the rally school, as I'm sure you did.
Yes, I love that they provided a tutorial level. Always nice to see that in a game.
Colin McRae's voice acting, laughably bad.
Yes. He just sounds tired and like he doesn't want to be there recording his lines.
It's so funny because it's like we talk about bad voice acting a lot of the time, but this is just like some guy that like he's never done anything like this before, and they're like, "Can you just like read this stuff?" So like for that, I don't think I can criticize it. 'Cause it's like he's there, It's like when John Madden used to do the voiceover sometimes, It's like that's the guy. So like,
Yeah,
if he sucks at it, I'm not mad.
he's not a voice actor, he's a racer. So you have to give it the pass in a sense.
Yeah, but he just talks like this really slowly and
Good job.
so up here you don't want to hit the cones,
Even when he's disappointed in you, it just doesn't. He's like, man, you failed. You can't hit the cones."
My favorite one was when he goes, "Quit screwing around." Because sometimes because you have to stop right on the line whenever you finish the little thing you have to do.
Yeah, or as close as you can. Yeah.
Which I don't know why you do that because you don't have to do it in the real game. But regardless,
Nope.
if you stop early, he goes, "Quit screwing around."
Yeah, I got that too. I'm like, sir, I'm trying to get into the parking spot. I'm not messing around.
This is a training mode. I'm doing my best.
I had the same thing happen whenever I was doing the course training thing.
Yeah.
And there's a part where there's like 2 quick turns, but I just like Tokyo drifted my way around each one. And he's like, "You're going too fast." I'm like, dude, did you not see that awesome drift I just did?
This is a race. Yeah, I'm going too fast. I was going to say, I don't think the tutorial necessarily teaches you that much. Like, once you do the first round of it, I feel like you're ready to go.
Yeah. The best thing it does is just gets you used to the feeling of how the car handles.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing of when you go into a racing game. We talked about it with Destruction Derby of how it took a few races to get used to the feel of the car. So I feel like this one just says, here's some training courses and you get to understand the handling and how it moves. And I think it's so helpful to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I completed the championship mode once and I did it on different play sessions. So I would jump back in, and when I started, I'm like, man, do I just suck at this or what? Like, what's going on here? And then after I did a few races, I was right back in it.
Yeah. So I love that. And it has beginner, intermediate, and expert. And the only differences really is as you go up, some of the courses like the loop track, they put the cones closer together. So it's just a tighter loop you have to do.
Yeah.
And then for the course training, you get rain, and then you get nighttime. And so it's kind of like they're just amping up the difficulty to push it onto you on how difficult it can get.
Am I crazy, or did we not play a single nighttime actual race?
I was going to ask you that too, because the nighttime training was so stressful because you just can't see anything. And then you don't get it at all in the main game. And I was very confused by that.
Well, I mean, I played what I played on the easiest difficulty. So I'm assuming, because there's 50 fucking tracks in this game?
Yep.
Like literally 50, 52. And each time you do a championship, you only do 3 races in each place. So as you go up the difficulties, I'm sure some of them had to have nighttime, right?
Well, I would assume that when you get to higher difficulty, you then have to start shifting your car.
I hope not. I don't think you would, but
it was in the controls for shifting.
I just think most games kind of give you the option either way. I could be wrong, but that would really suck.
Yeah. And then it probably just, when you get onto expert, that's where you get the nighttime, and then you get nighttime raining and snow levels too.
A nighttime snow level would be absolutely just the hardest thing you could possibly do in this game.
Hey, you're on expert for a reason.
So yeah, in addition to the tracks, there's different terrains. So there's snow, ice, mud,
gravel,
which really doesn't do much, sand, tarmac.
Yep. It's nice whenever you go into start each level, they give you that whole rundown. Here's the conditions you're facing. Here's the map to show you how tight all the turns are. So it really allows you to go into the map prepared.
Yeah, so like you go into a race, you get the map, then you get, I think it's like 10, not 10, maybe 8 or something, different options you can change about your car. And it tells you what each one does. And it's pretty self-explanatory, I think, for the most part. You can kind of just go through and pick exactly what you need for each like different type of track. And like what we're watching right now actually is me doing a snow level for the first time, and I forgot to change the tires. So I'm just sliding around. So this stuff actually does matter. I mean, I don't know if all of it matters, but at least the tires and like the speed and stuff, that stuff is very important.
Yeah, there was one where it was very tight turns on it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do loose handling. I'm going to set, I think I may have changed the brakes at that point too. And I changed something else. My turning was so precise. I was just whipping side to side because I could not keep the car straight for how loose the steering was.
I look forward to seeing that footage in the video. But just to go back to like the way the cars control, I think for the most part, I think this game's physics and controls are pretty good for when this came out.
Considering what it is, considering the system it's on, it's, I wouldn't say flawless, but it's very smooth to play this game.
I mean, it controls exactly how you think it's going to, which is crazy.
You're never fighting the car. You're never trying to like overcompensate for what the physics want you to do. You do the thing and the car does the thing you need it to do. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, if you mess up, it's because you're trying to take this turn too hard. Like, it's your fault. And I won't say I didn't get mad playing it sometimes, but like, it's tough to get used to, for sure.
It is, and it's especially tough whenever you're doing so many dry levels, and then they hit you with that rain level, and then I'm in the woods hitting all the trees because I'm not used to that setting anymore.
Yeah, the levels in Sweden that have all the ice, I just like, my footage is straight up embarrassing. Like, I don't even want you to show it. It's so embarrassing.
I'll see which one's is less embarrassing, and I'll show that one because mine was pretty bad too.
I mean, you have to show mine now that I said that, but still, it just, everything actually matters. It's not just like, oh, it's snow now. It's exactly the same. Like, I find that actually impressive that they went that deep with this PS1 game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we might just be underselling what simulation racing games we're doing on the PS1 because I just don't know.
And it's something we'll see as we get farther into this, as we do more simulation games. Are they doing it better or worse compared to this? But this, compared to the other racing game we've had, is just eons above what that was doing.
Not even close, honestly. I mean, Destruction Derby was like fine for what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been so long since we played it. I remember it not controlling the best, and I remember like most of the game was spent trying to not explode.
Yeah,
So, racing wasn't the highest priority, but
exactly.
I don't know. I'm just genuinely impressed with this game, and
Mhm.
I kind of want to look up whatever the newest one is and get it on my Steam Deck. Definitely interested.
Wow. Wow. I'm impressed.
I'm sure since they're newer, they'll be more intense, but like I said, I've always had that like passing interest of simulation racing games. They're just so hard to get into. And if like the newer ones are as accessible as this one is, I think I would be into it.
Yeah, just imagine the like newer version today. It's just this, but improved upon. It would have to handle so nicely and just play so well.
Yeah, yeah. So how long did you play, by the way?
Uh, about 2 hours even, actually. And I didn't finish the championship, so it's weird that I don't know how you managed to get through it so quickly because I feel like I didn't waste that much time. But
I mean, I didn't have to repeat anything.
that's true. Oh, yeah, I did do a lot of the training courses more than one time just because I was trying to get a perfect score to see if you got anything.
Did you get anything?
I never got a perfect score,
Oh,
so I
okay.
gave up.
Yeah, I got up until like the expert level, and then I started failing, and I was like, I think I'm ready to play this game. I don't need to do this
Okay.
anymore.
That's where it's at then, because I spent more time completing all those.
I was just tired of driving around cones.
I was too. I wanted to get into the race, but I thought maybe I would get something by completing it all, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the unlockables, which there are actually in this game. You can unlock cars, you can unlock levels.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier, where like you play 3 levels in each city or country in the championship mode. And as you go, you unlock more tracks in each of those countries. So, like I said, 52 tracks. There's 8 cars in this game. You go back to Destruction Derby, and there was what, 5 or 6 tracks in the whole game? I'm pretty
I want
sure.
to say 5, yeah, and 3 cars.
Which, I mean, again, this came out, what, 6 years after that, I think? 5 or 6
Yeah.
years. So, like, hard to directly compare the two, but, we're going to
Yeah.
just because it's the only one we played. But I was, again, just really happy with everything that was there. I mean, I wish there was more of a career mode or something.
Man, I think that is just the championship mode. That's
Yeah, just one that has like progression that goes between everything and not just, you know what I mean? You're playing through it on easy. Oh, you beat it. Now switch to medium. Now you beat it. I'm not
yeah.
I'm not saying this is a knock against the game. I'm just, it's wishful thinking, which I'm sure all these sequels probably have what I'm talking about. Like, Gran Turismo has that kind of stuff. It's what I like more. It gives you like something to work towards, you know?
Yeah, and even with the car customization, I wish there was just more you could do. Instead of just saying, "Oh, I want uh these brakes with these tires." I would love the ability to win money to then buy parts for your car to make it better.
But see, then you get into the territory where it starts to get really intense.
True. Because that's what Gran Turismo does. Like,
Yeah.
you're literally modifying your car how you want to race it better.
I just feel like if that was in this kind of game, it would be super like just over my head. You know what I mean? Well, because like whenever I'm playing a game like this and I'm upgrading my car, I'm just picking whatever makes the stats go the highest. I'm not like thinking
Very
about
true.
it. And I think this game would expect you to think about how these things work together.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't. And then I would be like, why am I bad at this now?
I get that fully. I don't know. It's just something about it to like, at least changing the color of your car would have been cool. Or
I agree with you there for sure. Just even if you could just select the decals on it or something.
yeah, like who you're sponsored by, or
Yeah.
you can win new sponsors and you get to choose where the stickers go. Something that isn't just racing. But I get that it's a rally game. We're gonna only do rally, and I mean they nailed that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just nitpicking some things now, but they nail everything they're going for sure. This is such a strange episode, dude. I'm just like thinking about it. Like, I'm trying to think of negative things to say, and I don't have them.
Yeah, it's. I'm like looking at my notes and I'm trying to figure out like, is there anything negative? I didn't really write down anything negative at all.
I guess the only negative thing that I will say is that the graphics are a little fucked up. And I mean, that is back to the whole thing we talked about it with Aconcagua too. Like, the PS1 just messing things up.
And it's one of those things that if you notice, if you actually pay attention to your car driving, it looks like the car's just floating above the road, or like
I didn't notice that.
it's a weird, and it only happens on some tracks. So I don't know if it's an always thing, but it's one of those things of, are you ever going to really notice that? No, it's probably going to be someone sitting next to you who sees that kind of thing.
That's true. You're just trying to survive.
Yeah. But speaking of graphics, we did 2-player mode.
We
and
did.
That's where we really saw the graphics kind of messing up a lot.
Well, before we hop into that, I was just going to say the main graphical glitch I'm referring to is like it feels like the environment is separating around you all the time, like all the lines and shit.
It does the cool borders thing.
Yeah. And it just it can be distracting, but I'm able to get over it when I'm playing by myself. Not when we're playing 2-player though.
Yes.
I think this is just a thing for me though, like playing split screen, specifically whenever it is top and bottom. I think that if it was left and right, it would have been a lot better.
Oh, okay. We'll show the footage of this. Like, compared to everything you've seen so far, like we're doing so good around turns, we're like handling well. Come to 2-player, you and I, it's like we're on an ice rink and we could not stay on the road.
I don't know what it was. I just felt like I couldn't tell what I was doing.
So it brings us to this big point, and I think it's one of it's the key part to this game, and that is the guy doing the call outs for the turns.
Yeah, they tell you exactly what's coming up next, and you might not be actively listening to it, but you always are hearing it. So, like, it is helping you.
Now, you were saying when we were doing the 2-player that you wish that there was an overall map that you saw your car driving on.
Absolutely. Just so I could see when, like, oh, this next section's really going to suck. You know, time to slow down.
And as I was playing this game, I knew you were going to have that as an argument to it. But here's where I can think of it. If you have a map, there's no need for the callouts. Like, the callouts are part of Rally, and I think that's why they do that.
Yes, but I also think they could even just have, like, because I really like in racing games when you can see how far you are behind somebody.
Yeah.
So, like, in the 2-player mode, they had that thing in the middle that showed how far apart we were. I wish they had something similar, and I didn't have to just wait until I hit a checkpoint to see, like, how well I was doing.
Yes, but I think that's also just comes back to that's Rally. You go one at a time, so you don't know how well you're doing until you hit a checkpoint. And then someone can say, oh, you're plus this behind the person or something.
I totally get it. I mean, you're talking about it from a realistic standpoint, and I'm talking about it from like a fun video game moment. So, like,
exactly.
This isn't a arcadey fun game. It's serious. It's supposed to be like real Rally. So I understand why they did it, but it's just, a couple things I wish were in the game.
Yeah, and I think that's why we were screwing up so much, because we didn't have those callouts in 2-player mode. So it's just like you're literally playing the game blind because you don't have this guy yelling like, hey, what is it? 1 right or something. You're like,
Square
okay,
left.
No, square left. So not having those callouts, I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing anymore. Like, I'm useless without those.
It is funny that you said yelling them out. He literally talks like this.
Yeah.
Just a calming British man telling you where to turn. But I agree with you, though. It is extremely helpful. And then, so we played the other multiplayer mode where you take turns instead of both going at the same time. Mm-hmm. We both immediately did like 10 times better. So
right off the gate, like you started first, you went, and I'm like, you can see an immediate improvement that you're back to how you were playing before.
I will say you beat me almost every single time when we played together. So
Hey, there's that one map that we were doing.
I beat you one single time. Just crazy. I mean, usually when we play against each other, I just like destroy you. So looks like racing games are your thing.
I don't want that to be put on me because next time we do a racing game and you destroy me, I don't want that to come back.
You're just a racing pro now. Sorry. I mean, it's what it is.
Just my title now. I feel like there's just something to this that it just clicked for me and everything just felt right. So it was just, I don't know.
I think for me, it's that like, because I was referring to earlier, like it would get too intense or there'd be too much going on. Like it's very simple in what it's doing, but it's doing it so well that I can't really complain about it. Like, yeah, like I said, there's no career mode, but there's the championship mode. There's 52 tracks in the game. There's more than enough content for you to play. Like, I really got nothing negative to say, you know? It just was fun to play. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I agree. And even when we did the 2-player where we were watching one another, I know whenever I was watching you play your run, I just stayed quiet because I'm like, I don't want to interrupt him. Let him focus. And then for me, like, whenever even playing by myself, I'm just dead staring at the screen and just like hyper focused on everything I'm doing, listening to the guy do the call outs. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this.
Yeah, that's something we didn't really bring up, but this game really demands your focus. Like, you are just like in the zone, like not doing anything else. You're just, if you make one mistake, if you let your mind drift away, or like one time I looked at a text and then I crashed. Like,
yep.
And I didn't even like touch my phone. I just looked and glanced at it and I was like, oh shit.
Not even that. If you just space a little bit mentally and you don't listen to the guy's call out, you can tell on my screen when I just forgot to listen because I just go careening into the side of the thing and I went way too fast into the turn.
I cannot imagine how stressful driving a rally car in real life would be. Someone telling you when the turn's coming up, like that would be so stressful.
There's been times I've seen where they're racing down this alley where you have maybe 5 inches on each side of your car. Like it's a brick wall and a brick wall. And they're taking these tight turns and like, I'm like, how are you not wrecking? This is impressive on as all hell.
True professionals.
Yeah.
I guess one other kind of complaint I could say, I guess, would be that like there's not really any good music in this game.
Oh, the music is very lacking. When you're doing the race, there's no music.
Which, I mean, that's great because I need to focus.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I expected just some cool music in the menus, maybe. I mean, racing games usually have good music. That's the vibe. But, you know, whatever.
The music that is there is your standard. It's a racing game music. That's all it is.
It's fine. Like, it's not bad. It's just, you know, it doesn't make me want to listen to it.
It's just there.
Yeah.
As most games we cover are. It's like, it doesn't add much. It's just there for sound purposes only.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with music and even graphics to a degree, it's like when we're figuring out how we want to score a game, if it's just fine, you're not going to knock anything. But if it's really good, I'm going to bump up the score if the music's really good every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
And if it's really bad, I feel like the score doesn't get that bad for bad music. Bad graphics, like, yes, but it's just a weird like dynamic, you know, when you really break it down like that.
Yeah, with the music, if it's like terrible, it's like it has to be really bad to actually. It has to be like a horror game that's playing like jazz music or something. Like
exactly, just like
to relate
actually bad music, not just like it's whatever.
Yeah, you didn't fit the theming, you didn't fit what they're going for. You just threw a song on it and that's it.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess unless you got anything else, we can go ahead and hop into these reviews.
Yeah. We always say we don't know how we're going to fill the time. We just did it. So I don't know.
I feel like we didn't talk about anything. So foreshadowing our scores, I think this game got almost exclusively good reviews.
I think we've been foreshadowing our scores the entire time.
I mean, that's what every podcast is, right? We're talking about the game, so we're foreshadowing our scores. But so German magazine Fun Generation gave it a 10 out of 10. And they said, the setup options, the superb stages, and above all, successful playability over sufficient long-term motivation. Clearly the best rally game currently available.
And now I want to play other rally games around this time period to see if that actually holds up.
I kind of do too. And I also apologize. My dog is barking, so I can't do anything about it. He won't shut up.
I think it has to be a thing that people just have heard this entire time because it's in almost every single episode.
I try and edit it out so hard, but whenever I know it's happening, like I can hear it right now. Like I have to say it. Like,
yep.
I'm sorry, but I only found one, and I mean literally one low score for this game.
Oh, okay.
And that is from GameSpot, who is notoriously pretty tough on games.
Okay.
They gave it a 5.6 out of 10. And they said, regardless of whether Colin McRae's Rally is dated or not, it plays well enough. But its cookie-cutter formula won't sustain casual gamers' long-term interest. Only die-hard Rally fans need to bother.
I don't really agree with that one.
I mean, clearly, we're both not die-hard Rally fans, and we both liked it. So,
yeah.
You're wrong.
I didn't feel like it was very cookie-cutter either. It's like every single country has a very unique look and feel to it. It's not like, oh, Australia looks just like New Zealand, but now they threw in these different colors. Like everything is very unique.
Yeah, I wonder if they just want more game modes like an arcade racing game or, like I said, they want a career mode of some kind or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand, but like rating it a 5, like that's kind of crazy.
And going off of that, we kind of didn't really talk about the other game modes. We kind of just hopped right back right into championship mode. I will say I do kind of get that where you have rally, you have championship mode, and you have time trials. All three are doing the same exact thing.
I was going to say that, like, aren't you just already doing a time trial by default?
Yeah.
If
they literally only had championship mode and 2-player mode, you could have taken out the other two options. There's no need for it.
Well, rally is a way. So championship is if you want to play all the countries back to back. Rally is if you just want to play 3 different courses from a country and you play it in a cycle. And then, you get the same thing as a championship, but you don't have to play through all of them. And time trial, you can play one thing at a time.
No, wait, is that? There's one of the maps, I forget which one, but you can select say
no, I mean, I know you can select more than one. I'm just saying that is the only way to just play one single race.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense then. Yeah.
I mean, they all serve their purpose, but they are all the same thing, essentially.
Yeah, the game mode doesn't change. You're just, I guess, essentially what you're saying, you're just changing how many maps you're playing at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, I'm ready to get into our scores, I guess.
I'm very curious on this. I don't know where you're going with it. It sounds like you're high.
Yeah, but how high, though? That's where I'm at right now. Because we didn't really say that much negative about the game.
Because I don't think it's that negative of a game at all.
I'm surprised I'm going to say some words I'm about to say, but I genuinely really like this game. I think that it could have done more, for sure. Graphics are a little lacking. We didn't talk about the draw distance, which is kind of fucked a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Especially on some of the later levels, like you can't really see where you're going sometimes.
I have a counterpoint to that, but yeah, good.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I think. I'm just looking at this list and I'm like, where am I putting this?
Do you want me to go?
I think I'm going to go with a 9.
Whoa, wow.
I just I keep trying to talk myself out of why I shouldn't go that high, but I think if it had more and, if it had a few more standout things, it would probably be a 10. But I don't know. I had written down 8 to 9. That's what my range was. And if you were a little more negative, I was going to kind of lean lower, but we were both just positive the whole time. So what can you say?
Yeah. So my counterpoint to what you were saying with the draw distances is that's where the callouts come into play. Like some maps on here, which we didn't talk about either, is a blind turn. Like you're going up over a hill and then there's a blind turn. You have to fully commit to listening to this guy talk to make that turn. So the feeling of it to go up over this hill to a blind turn that you drift around perfectly because you paid attention to him saying that, it feels so awesome to do that. You're like, wow, that was so cool.
I just think about the draw distance, like graphically, it just doesn't look good when it's happening in front of you like that. That's all.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. And it's not as bad as Magic Carpet and stuff like that. So
it's kind of to be expected.
Yeah. It could be worse.
Yeah.
So I was also sitting at a 9. However, because of 2-player mode, at least doing the split screen, I feel like it breaks the game almost when you do split screen because you don't get those callouts, and those are very necessary to play the game.
Did we also mention the frame drops too? I forget if we mentioned that or not.
Oh no, yeah. But that's the only time it happened.
Yeah, when you're playing 2-player, there's like frame drops all of a sudden when the game runs perfect every other time.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with you. You were going to say 8.5, right?
Yep.
I think that is what it should be. I think we can both agree 8.5.
And the 2-player mode just knocked it down by a half point. Like, if they just fixed that a little bit more, it could be a 9. And if they just added a little bit more stuff, it could have been a 10.
But hey, 8.5 is still pretty damn good.
That for a racing game, and we don't play racing games? Like, yeah.
This is what we talk about on this show. It's like, we find some of the best games in a genre, and like, it's going to be a high score even if you don't like it. It's still a good ass game.
I feel bad for any racing game we do after this now. It's like, oh, the handling isn't as great as it was on the rally game.
What are you going to do?
I know. All right, so that puts us very high to the top of the list. We have The Adventures of Little Ralph and Magical Tetris Challenge.
This is a hard one.
This is very tough.
For me, I would probably put it underneath them.
I thought the same thing.
Okay.
I can't justify putting it between the two. Like, I enjoyed Magical Tetris so much.
Me too. Yeah. We're good. Put it below them.
Okay. Yeah, before I try to think about it too much.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Like, it's still in the top 10, so.
All right. Well, that puts Colin McRae Rally at number 7, above Tony Hawk 2.
Hey, we both liked it. What more can you say?
I know.
I feel like this wasn't even that good of a podcast because, like, we didn't really say much. We're just like, yeah, it's sick, over and over again. Like, yeah, it's cool.
The episode where we just nonstop have positives. But I think that's a good point. Everything in the top 10 has been mainly all positive talk.
Yeah. We had some negative talk about Castlevania, about Silent Hill, but like Tony Hawk 2. At the same time, it's like those games are so good that it overcomes that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think anything negative we could say about this game, the positives overcome them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fully agree.
But yeah, who knows when the next time a game will enter the top 10? Could be soon, could be in a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say, but I'm just surprised that I knew you were going to be high on this. I didn't think it was going to be in the 9s.
Hey, a good game is a good game. Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching or listening. If you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as give us a rating on podcast services. We'll see you next week.